Well,
It's recording?
it is recording.
Hey.
How you feeling? How are you feeling? This a long time coming.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. And I was just going through your Substack right before this, and you said life is about to get crazy. By the way, if you're watching this right now, subscribe. We
Yes.
about to drop a banger today.
We are.
Okay. This is Miahjé.
Yes.
Can't say the last name because, hey, look, she almost beat me up off camera because I told her that I was going to drop her last name. I had to delete that out the show notes. You know what I mean? Oof. But you said life was about to get crazy good for you on Substack. What exciting news do you have to share?
I have exciting news to share. It's just the feeling I have.
Which is, explain that
I'm
feeling.
about to birth something. You ever
Oh.
you're in the transition space in your life?
Mm.
I feel like I shed it, I released, I let go a lot of things, and I'm on the bridge of my breakthrough. So I feel that. I feel that in my body, in my soul. So I can't tell you exactly what it
What
is.
it's gonna be?
Or I have this coming through the pipeline, but my life is about to look drastically different.
So did you just wake up one day and have this feeling? Have you been working on something that you just been, whether it's yourself or a project, like what got you feeling this way at this moment?
I would say myself. I've been really pouring into myself, learning a lot about myself. I think that collectively we're in a different space. I know the new year was January, but technically speaking, the new year, astrologically speaking, it just started March 21st. I think that we're going through some shifts on the planet, a spiritual awakening for a lot of people. So I think that there's really strong energy out into the world. And this is a good time to capitalize off of it. So
Okay. We kind of just dove right in. Miahjé,
did.
you are Howard alone, Zeta,
I am.
you know, sister in Christ. Like, if you could explain who you are, like who is Miahjé?
That's a loaded question. You know how many times I get that question and I'm like, dang,
You don't even know what to say.
who am I? I'm just me. I'm one of a kind. I think that question can be difficult to answer because the first thing that we want to gravitate towards is labels, right?
Yeah.
I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I am a partner, or maybe going to start with whatever role I may have at work. But kind of going back to doing a lot of work these years, it's been a lot of peeling back the layers, who are you outside of that? Outside of friendships, outside of relationships, outside of a job, outside of a career. And I don't know if I quite have the words to articulate it.
Miahjé don't have words to articulate.
I don't know if I have the
I'm telling you,
words.
she be on Substack going crazy. Talking
Words.
got no words.
I don't
you got
know.
no words.
That's why I said
on.
it's such a loaded
Come
question. How
on.
do I even answer that? It's one of those things. You just got to know me, to experience me
And the people are trying to know you.
in real life and feel my energy in real life to get a sense of who I am. But I'm a very strong person. I'm very strong-minded. You could say that. I'm very straight to the point. Yeah, I don't even know.
You don't even know. Still discovering?
Still discovering certain aspects of it. Trying to get the language, trying to develop what the language is.
Okay.
To answer that question properly.
You know, I've thought about that too in terms of who am I? And I don't even got that answer either. And I don't even putting labels on things like, oh, I'm a podcaster or a Sigma or stuff like that. It's just oh, you mind muting that, by the way?
Lo siento.
It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Party foul, not even 5 minutes in, but it's okay.
You may have to cut this part out.
We'll see.
Okay, my phone was glitching.
It's all good. But I was just saying that, I don't know, I don't like to put myself in a box, but I'm also still, trying to figure out who I am.
Because that's not who you are. You being a Sigma, a podcast, again, those are labels.
Labels.
Who are you, at your core? And it takes time to figure that out. It takes time to get the words to be able to articulate that properly. So, yeah.
So, we met at Howard University.
We did.
The Mecca.
We did.
The best HBCU on the planet. Is your favorite Howard memory?
It's my favorite Howard memory. You told me that you were going to ask me this, and I tried to think about it, and I still don't have an answer.
That's crazy. I typically never give folks the questions in advance, and they still don't come prepared.
Because Howard was such a great experience.
Yeah.
I have so many good memories. It's hard to, I think we have a lot of good blue and white memories. So any one of those, any event.
We got to get into the nitty gritty. We did this. It's story time.
I have so many.
You just pick one.
Favorite Howard Memories. I would say probably something from freshman year. I had a lot of fun freshman year. Maybe freshman week. Freshman week. For people that don't know, I don't know, do I look at you? Do I look at the camera?
You could talk to the
For
people.
people who don't know, freshman week is like it's a series of events on campus. It's Howard, so it's a lot of parties, and it's the way of like getting to know people. I'm not outside much, but I was outside that week, and I just had so much fun. That's when I like met my closest friends now. That's when I met who are now pro fights like around freshman week that I've
Oh,
later
that's
connected
crazy.
with. So like I loved freshman week. Like that was freshman week. I was like, I'm so glad I committed to Howard because I was in between schools.
I love freshman week too, and it's nothing like freshman year. And if I could relive one year, it would definitely be freshman
Freshman
year
year, me
because
too.
just being just young, wild, and free, it's like you could make all the mistakes in the world and you would be okay
Okay,
because you was only like what? I was 18 when I went to
yeah,
Howard. I turned
same.
19. It's like, but now it's like it's hard to believe.
Mhm.
That was 10 years ago for me, and it's like, fuck.
Damn, it's
Like,
been 10?
you thought that was funny? But yeah, nah, it has been 10 years. Like when I started at Howard in fall of 2016. Coming from California, I didn't really know nobody for
Yeah.
real. It was only one dude that I knew because I played against him like playing soccer, but
Mhm.
like we wasn't like friends or anything.
Right.
But just being there and meeting people freshman year, this was great. So what's your favorite memory being a Zeta? Since you said there's so many.
It has to be one of our brunches. We do brunch.
Yeah, we're going to brunch after
We
this
are. We are
too.
going to brunch after
Mhm.
this. It has to be one of the brunches. Yeah, I wanna say with my line probably. We had a really nice brunch. Homecoming, I can't remember
Oh, yeah,
where.
I remember. That was, like, when most people came, right? It
Yeah,
was,
it
like,
was a lot of us
2020,
came.
like, 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I take that back. My favorite memory is the trip that we just went on.
But yeah, yeah. Y'all did
Yes.
y'all 5-year trip.
Yes.
I'm glad that y'all 5-year trip went well, cause our 5-year trip might be the last trip we take. Let me tell y'all about our 5-year trip, man. It was one of those things where, like, all the memes of people that be talking about getting out the group chat and how it's like
It's
everybody swear they're
gonna
going up
come.
until like 24 hours before. That is exactly how our 5-year trip went. It went from like damn near only maybe like 2 people weren't going, maybe 3 people wasn't going, and then maybe like
Only a few of y'all went.
it
I
was
heard
only like 5
5
of
of y'all.
us that
Yeah, I heard
went.
that as
It was
well.
to the no, 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 I shit you not. It was to the point I was in the gym the day before the trip. I'm talking about less than 24 hours before the trip. And Tyrese makes the group chat of everybody who was going. It was like 5 of us. Me and FaZe were supposed to stay together. I saw the group chat. I said, "What? It's only 5." I called FaZe. I'm like, "Bro, do you see this group chat with all these people?" He was like, "What?" He was like, "You still trying to go?" We were literally trying to back out of the trip
I
less than
heard. I'm
20.
not. But I was talking to people through the grapevine, like, yeah, I'm supposed to be going, but they don't know. But I'm about to not go no more.
What? Nah, we about to
Business.
talk about that on
I'm
camera because
mind
that
my
is
business. I'm gonna mind my
crazy.
business.
That is crazy.
We planned hours like so far in advance, and it was super organized. And
Man,
y'all got to start early.
it's not that we don't start early. Here's the thing. Is what y'all did is what I'm going to attempt to do. I don't know. That last trip, like I think everybody's kind of like, you know what? I don't even know if we'll have a 10-year at this
Yeah.
point. I'd be okay with just doing nail ya and no trip, to be honest, because like I don't see us doing a 10-year trip after what happened last time. But what y'all did deposits, and we
Yes.
didn't do that. So we kind of just took everybody's word for it that
You
they was
can't do
gonna
that.
go.
You can't. You got to
And
take the
so
deposit. You have to have a payment plan. Payments are going to be taken out this time every month.
yeah, see,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's why our trip was like we saw y'all had a photographer. I was like,
We
oh,
did.
y'all did like baskets and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah. So
wow,
take back what I said about my favorite memory is brunch. My favorite memory with my line sisters is
the trip.
it's the trip. Yeah, it was great.
So, Miahjé, one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to sit down with you today is because I didn't know how great of a writer you was. Like you've been writing on Substack going crazy. I've read every single word you posted, and
Thank
you could tell,
you.
especially like I really appreciate it because in the age of AI, it's just so easy to like make like written content. But I could tell that you don't. It's
Yeah.
like you could like I'm reading it and I feel like I'm like almost like there with you. And
I
that's like
appreciate
really
that.
like an art. Like you're one of only 2 people that I know I've had that experience with. I had a teacher in 7th grade. He was like the best history teacher.
Mm.
And like he didn't like he would like he would like turn the lights off, and like it was like he would like basically tell the story of like history. And like you have like that ability to like really pull people into like the story with your writing, and I greatly appreciated it. And
Thank you.
so I just want to know like what even got you to want to share your writing to begin with.
So I had the thought for quite some time. Writing is not new to me. I've always been writing. It's just not something that I necessarily shared. We talked about this before. That's why I have pens and pencils in my house, because I be writing for real. And
Mm,
I'm a huge, like, I journal a lot. I've been journaling since, I want to say, elementary school. I didn't
really?
realize that it was journaling, but
You still got the journals from elementary
I
school?
probably do. I have a
Oh
lot of
wow.
journals. My mom, like, she keeps like old essays and things like that. So I'm sure I can find it. But it was like pieces of lined paper, and I'm gonna write about things. I'm gonna write poems, things that are going on at school. I didn't know that that was journaling. And it was just really just like an outlet for me. And I was thinking about things that I want to do this year, 2026, feeling like I want to switch things up and wanting to make sure that I'm really utilizing the gifts, the talents that God has given me.
Mm,
And I was trying to figure out, like, what is my thing? And I was kind of having a conversation with my best friend about it. And I was like, I don't know, like, what that would be. I did have a thought to, like, maybe share some of my writings, because I'm a very loquacious person. I love to
ooh,
get
big
deep.
words. I don't even know what that means.
I'm a very talkative person. You know that, like, I'm getting deep. Like, we go out to dinner, we go out to breakfast, we go on
Mhm.
rat, we be on the phone to connect with people. And I've posted on my story from time to time some of my thoughts. I don't go on social media a lot. And I was like, I don't know what it would be other than that. And she's like, that is it. Like, that's actually perfect for you. So we had that conversation at the beginning of this year. And she really pushed me. Was like, there's nothing else to talk about. Make a page. So I did. What's that?
Okay, okay. And so with these writings, right, a
Mhm,
lot of it was, well, maybe I shouldn't say a lot of it, but I've got a lot of themes in terms of love,
mhm.
self-discovery. Like, what made you want to like start writing about that at first, as opposed to like, other things?
Things that are true to me.
Yeah.
I want to speak on things that I have experienced in real time, because I think that's how I'm able to connect with people, and it's real, and I think that's important, especially in this digital age. And so I write about the things that I have experienced, that I can draw from, that I'm going through in real time, and those are the things that I'm able to speak about right now, especially especially about,
What?
women back.
It's not what? Because we about to go. We about to go there real. You feel me?
Especially with, like, we're talking about self-discovery and purpose and really trying to figure out who I am outside of, like, labels, expectations. That is where my journey has taken me. So, those are the things that came to mind.
Cool, cool, cool. All right. Well, let's get into the nitty gritty now. Like, do I want to? Let's get it.
This is the
Let's.
more.
We're gonna go. I call them quotables.
Okay.
Quotables, y'all. Quotables to me are things like like I said, I read all of her writing, and there's certain quotes that like stood out to me, and we gonna dissect them. All right. Now, I probably honestly should have referenced what which was which, but
I can figure it
I
out.
just have to
Yeah.
quote.
I don't.
So, if we consistently attract people who are superficial, unkind, or disconnected, it may point to something within us that has not yet been examined.
Yes, you're talking about the most recent one.
Mm. So, I just want you to expand on that. Like, is there anything that happened with you where you felt like you were attracting people that, were these things superficial, unkind, or disconnected?
No, thank God. Because I
Mm,
don't think that I'm a unkind, superficial person. So I don't connect those. But what I was talking about in reference to that is the idea is that love is a mirror. I think not even just love. A lot of the experiences that we have, the relationships that we create, the interactions with other people is just a reflection of what's going on with us internally.
mm,
And I think, to me, that was just a call to take a look at what's going on in the inside, because I think it's natural, right? Like, if you're looking at your life and you're like, I want some things to change, the first reaction is, okay, maybe get a new job, or leave this relationship, enter this new relationship. I want to change my appearance. Not to say that those aren't things that you shouldn't focus on, that you can't focus on, but sometimes, depending on what you desire and what you're trying to bring into your life, that is not enough. You have to get to the core root, and the core root is the inside, because the outside is a reflection of the inside. So I don't think that I've been in situations where I am like, ooh, this person, I don't like this person. Why did I attract this type of person? That's a testament to like where I am. I've done a lot of work, so I'm not attracting those types of people, but I've definitely been in situations for sure where I was like, I don't know if I really like this, but I'm like, wait a minute, maybe they kind of like pointing to something within myself that I don't like or that I need to work through. So that's kind of where the thought process was behind that particular quote. And then in that section, just wanting to implore people to really think about that concept of love being a mirror. And when you meet other people, ask yourself, like, what is this person, this connection telling me about myself?
And you know, I like that concept of love being a mirror, and you actually inspired me. You
Did.
did. You inspired me. So
How so?
I was talking. So I was talking to this girl. We're not talking no more,
Oh,
right?
okay.
We- Wait, what's so funny?
That was quick. I was talking to her, and I'm not talking to her no more. Go ahead. This is our regular conversation.
Oh yeah, this is our regular I'm trying to tell you. This like cause we're on the internet, we gonna have to, you know what I mean? Like
This is a regular phone call.
we
Go
go
ahead. You
okay.
talking to her, you
So
know.
I was talking to her, and then keep in mind this is recent. So
Okay.
like this was like but today is Saturday. It was on like Monday.
Okay.
It was on like Monday. I actually told her like, yeah, we're not doing it. And keep in mind, like we still on good terms. Like she's still cool. It's just one that I think I told you. Her code name is Deja. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You might not talk about people. We could give your people code names because we're gonna get into your people. You know what I mean?
I don't have any people to get into, but go ahead. I digress.
Well, I was saying like, yeah. So like, me and Deja was doing long distance, and so that's basically why it didn't work. And then I told her I didn't want. That's kind of the short version. But then I texted her. I think come like Tuesday because I literally read your work about like love being a mirror, and I was like, you know what? I try to improve in all aspects of my life. Right. This is like this is somebody. Me and her, we would talk like. I'm talking about like we would talk on the phone for like.
Like
it's a shame. It's a shame.
For hours.
You know the memes where you be like, and you got your feet kicked up. Okay, stop. I swear to God, that was.
Want to work, sleep.
I'm telling you, a regular comment, like, if we was only on the phone for like 3 or 4 hours, that was short. A regular, like, FaceTime session would be like 6, 7 hours, you know what I mean? So, like, she knew me really well. So, like, I had to ask her, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, give me some, like, feedback as to, you know, what it was like. And she gave it to me, and I was just like, okay. Some of it, like, I was like, but others of it was like, okay, I'll take that into consideration. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So yeah. So I want to ask you, in terms of love being a mirror, like what have you learned about yourself through love being a mirror?
I've learned a lot. I've just learned, and this is why you got to take the time to learn yourself before you get in a relationship. But I mean, sometimes you don't get the opportunity to learn through experiences. I had to go through experiences to be like, okay, this is a yes for me. This is a hard no.
Yeah.
This is a non-negotiable. I do like this. I do want to be in a relationship that looks like XYZ. So I've learned a lot about the type of woman that I am, the type of partner that I'm attracted to, what it requires. I think the first thing that pops back into my mind that kind of ties back into this article, I think this idea of love that I was describing, of it being transformative, of it being radical, of it being something that pushes you to growth and evolving as a person in this physical realm, that's not for everybody. And I said that in the article. Like, I want to be very clear. This type of love that I'm describing is not for everybody, but through experiences, I have learned that is the type of love that I would like to have in my life. Not necessarily just romantic relationships, but platonic relationships as well. I really value truth. I value transparency. Like, I have this running joke with my friends, like, always keep it real with me. Like, please don't lie to me. Don't sugarcoat it. But those are things that I've learned like through experience. Like, I don't want something that is superficial.
Where
there's nothing about me that is superficial. So yeah, that's the first thing that came to mind.
Okay, what is something that you were talking about your non-negotiables and stuff? Like, what is something that I guess you learned from experience that became a non-negotiable for you? Jeez, you got a lot.
Low key.
Sheesh, sorry. Listen.
What are some non-negotiable? Think one thing that I'm learning about this season of my life, I need to be we need to be on the same page energetically. Cautious of some of the things I say because I feel like nowadays everything's like a buzzword and people be throwing things around on the internet and they don't really know what
Oh,
it
that's weird.
means.
I know, that's why I like to ask people, like, what does that mean?
Being equally yoked is a real thing. And for me,
Well, that's good. Well, I promise you, when you said same energy, my mind didn't go there. So that's why I asked.
like, okay, so for example, me being in alignment with God, me being in purpose, me doing work that's very impactful, like that's important to me. So it's not going to work out for me to be with somebody that doesn't have something else in their life that doesn't have to be the same. I don't want somebody that's going to be the same, but if they don't have something else in their life that they are passionate about, that they can talk about for hours, that's very meaningful to them, it's not going to work out because I'm fulfilled in other areas of my life. So, for lack of a better word, you got to have some motion. That's a non-negotiable. It's not going to
You
work.
okay?
That's
Okay.
not you say.
Nah, because it's like you said, okay, because you said you want them to have the same energy, and then you say equally yoked, and then you said motion. I feel like low key, like in my head, like all three of those things are like kind of different. You know what I mean? Like, cause like when I think of like same energy, I'm thinking maybe personality. When I think of equally
Mm-mm.
yoked, I'm thinking of like in terms of either like emotional intelligence, regular intelligence, or even shit, finances. And
Mhm.
then what was the third thing that you said? You said equally yoked, energy, and
Equally
then
yoked, energetic match.
damn, what was the third
I don't know.
thing?
I'll be talking.
Okay, it's okay, but it's like I don't know. I think that those things are at least I don't know. At least to me are so. Oh, then you said motion. Yeah, motion.
Motion.
It was
Well,
motion.
okay, so like
Yeah, you know what I mean.
it's energetics, right? Not necessarily about we have to be the same, right?
Mhm.
I would say historically, the people that romantically speaking were not the same. I do believe for me, opposites attract. So no, I'm not necessarily talking about we have the same temperament or the same personality per se. But I think that my perspective on life in terms of like purpose and love, we're kind of getting into the energetics of that. We have to be on the same frequency as it relates to that. If we don't agree, I don't want to say agree because it's not like you can have different opinions, different thoughts, but like if
Right.
these are big things, right? If it's the way I talk about love and creativity and purpose, if you don't view life that same way, it's not going to work. So in that case, for me, that would be unequally yoked. That's not necessarily to say, that's not to, diss the other person. It wouldn't work out for us where we see the world in two very different ways and it will be difficult for us to try to like merge our lives together. And for me, I brought up motion because, like that's important to me. Like, do you have passion? Do you have purpose? Like, what are you doing?
To me, having motion and having passion are two different things. There's plenty of to me, right?
Okay.
Because I think most people I would say have passion, but very few people actually have motion. If that
Okay.
makes sense, you know what I mean? Like just because you like to I don't know, go on a walk every single day, like religiously, and that's just a passion of yours. You take a walk every day, or you shit, if you like run marathons or whatever,
Right.
that doesn't necessarily mean you have motion. I think to me, like motion means like
You're building something.
yeah, you're building something in like like, and it doesn't even matter what your field is, but like you are like respected to a certain degree. Like you are like the word motion literally means move. So like
Mhm.
whatever you do and whatever you say, whether it could be real small, like you know what I mean, even if it's like a group of 5, 10 people, like if you
Right.
say something, like people will like follow more or
Right.
less.
Yeah.
That's what I think about. Sure.
I agree. Emotion in a sense of like going back to how we started off the podcast, like I am in a space in my life, I'm doing a lot of building. I am setting the
Mm-hmm.
foundation for the type of life that I would like to live.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actively doing this stuff now to create that. You have to be, I don't know what that is. It don't have to be the same things that I'm building, but like motion in that sense. Like you
Mm-hmm.
need to have goals, working towards them. What are you doing with this time that we have here on earth?
Okay, I like that. So, what's the biggest lie modern culture has told us about love?
What I said in the article that it's always easy,
Mm-hmm.
that it's effortless, that's a lie.
So one thing that I thought about, Okay, I'll just put this out there. I told you I like to learn, and I like to learn from other people's mistakes for sure. So anytime
That's
like
why.
I run into somebody who's either thinking about getting married, engaged, newly married, or divorced, right? I always ask
You're
like the
asking
question. Oh
questions, as
yeah,
you
I'm always
should.
asking questions, and I typically ask like the questions like I don't want to hear, especially like if it's like about marriage. I don't want to hear about how great it is and blah blah blah. It's like nah
You
nah.
wanna hear the real, the
Yeah,
hard
I wanna
stuff,
hear,
yeah.
what's one of the worst parts, you know what I mean? And, one of the one of my guys, he had to I don't know, he been divorced for maybe, like, I don't know, maybe 4 years. So I
Okay.
remember me and him, we had a conversation, it was, like, 45 minutes long, and I asked him about it, and he was
Mhm.
like he told me love isn't enough.
It's not.
And I was just like, "Damn,
It's
I never
not.
thought about that."
It's not. I absolutely agree with that.
You say you agree?
Yes.
Why?
It depends on what you want, right? If
Mhm.
you are talking about some of the things that I'm hinting at and what's important to me, legacy, family building, love is not enough. You can ask any married couple that have been together for years, you're not going to always feel passionately in love. Like
Yeah.
that infatuation, that honeymoon stage, that fades.
Yeah, phase.
And I think that's probably where a lot of us go wrong with love. We're choosing based off the feeling. Now, caveats to this. I
Mhm.
do believe like I can have it all, right? I can be, with the partner that I feel like we on the same page in terms of like growing, evolving, this, that, and the third, but also still be like madly in love and like, really enjoy this person. So you can have both, but like love by itself, no, that's not enough. That's not going to sustain the relationship, especially when we kind of get to like difficult times. When you're in situations like that, committed relationships, marriage, people change, people grow, people evolve. The version that you met
Mm,
at this age, at this time point, is not going to be the same 5, 10, 15 years down the line. Love may not sustain you at that point. You may be going through a rough period. Like,
mhm.
I don't feel I love you, but I don't really like you right now. And what do we do with that? We have to be
Yeah.
able to have common ground on other things. So I do believe when you're talking about serious relationships, trying to build with somebody, marriage, love is not enough.
Yeah, and honestly, you touched on something that I wanted to highlight is that people change, right? The person that you get married, especially if you like really do the distance, they're not gonna be the same person like 10 years from now. So you're
Right.
gonna have to like learn to adapt to that.
Right.
And I think that especially like nowadays, like people are just not built for that. Like the divorce rate is really high. It's
Yeah.
like 50+%, you
Yeah.
know? So that's why I don't know. That's why like for me, like I'm a very cautious person. I like to, like feel things out.
As you
And
should. I don't think we do that enough.
oh, I know we don't. That's part of the reason why, like we said, I'm trying to choose my words very, very carefully. I don't know. See, at least for me, I don't know. That's why, like, I like to. I've come to terms that now, for those that don't know, I'm 28. I'm like 28 and a half, actually. And I know 30 is approaching, and it's one of those things where, like, one, I'm not scared to get older and be 30.
You
I
shouldn't
don't
be.
really
It's a
care.
beautiful.
But it's more so I've come to terms that the way I like to like assess situations, especially like when it comes to the women I deal with, it's like it takes a lot longer than most people would probably
I'm with you.
want to do.
I'm
So
yeah.
because of that, I realized that I can't really date women my own age, right?
Mm.
And yeah, when I mean my own age, I mean like within like a year or two, because like they be looking at me like we've been together for like a year. If we've been together for a year, you don't want to marry
Okay.
me.
Can
So I'm
I can
so
I
I'm over here like all right, well, you feel me? But before I want you to hold your thought.
okay.
And my thing is this: is like I'll say is this. Me personally, I got family members that been through the ringer. As a man, you definitely get fucked over in that divorce court, and I'm
We
not trying to have that be me, right?
we've
It-
talked now we have
so
talked about this
it's
and
not
your
cool.
thoughts with marriage and
Oh God, about how you guys were like,
no,
yeah,
no,
you don't want to be married. I'm like, y'all, that's not what I said.
that's
You
not
know
how
that
the
meme where it's like the
conversation
point?
went.
Yeah, that was
That's
everybody that.
I was just challenge you to
But I was just saying that like because like okay, I was literally thinking about this right before you got here. So I'm gonna say this now, and every time I say this, I gotta, you know what I mean? I've never had a girlfriend.
yeah, we talked about
Yeah, I've never had a girlfriend,
we talked about
right?
this.
And so there's some people that get their first girlfriend like when they're in high school and stuff like that. And, you know, I had opportunities to do that, but, like, I was the type of person to, like, really be, like, really super duper hyper analytical. So if I really didn't see it, like, happening, like, for the long, long term, I just wasn't even gonna do it, right?
Mhm.
So I'm not gonna lie, I had to go to therapy and, like, figure out myself and where that came from, and now I
Right.
understand. But I bring that up to say that, like, when you're in high school, like, it's like, okay, you got your little girlfriend and blah, blah, blah. You're not expecting that to be your wife. You know what I mean? I feel like that's the case from, like, let's say, like, 15, 16, all the way up to, like, say, like, 25, right? You
Mhm.
don't really, like, know yourself,
Right.
you know? And so those are, like, kinda trial and error periods. But once you get to, like, my age and you're 28, and like I said, I never had a girlfriend, like, and I've been in situationships and shit like that, so, and I've dealt with women. It's not like I'm over here like an incel or no shit. It's like a certain level of expectation, and what Deja had told me, she said, "I wanted a guy who's certain of what he wants." And AKA, I'm sure you're familiar with basketball. What she basically wanted was she wanted like a guarantee, not a guarantee contract, but like more so like a and keep in mind she was only a year younger than me, so she like 27, right?
Mhm.
And so I've just come to realize it's like, and I get it. It's like y'all only have your fertility window is only so wide, so it's like you can't wait for a dude to like 5 years at 27 to like know if he want to marry you. But like for me, I'm not saying that I would do that, but it's like it take me some time. Like if you're gonna press me out about marriage after a year, it's like,
A few thoughts. I do understand what you're saying, and I do relate to that because I think that, even not just romantically, I think that it's important to see people in different seasons in their life and how they
oh,
respond to
definitely,
different situations. And like, I really reflect
100%.
on like my friendships, excuse me, my best friends. We are so close now because we have so much time that we put in. It like we put in time and work to get this close,
Mhm.
right? And to have this level of, community connection, intimacy, all the things as, friends. So I do think that that's important. And I feel like, perhaps observing society and, the dynamics between men and women, specifically within our age group, someone could say that we're moving too fast. Maybe we're not getting in the relationships that we would want or having the experience that we want because we're not taking the time to really see this person through different seasons. But you also have to be mindful, and we could talk about this in a phone call. Is this me really taking my time, or is this like starting to become I am being fearful of committing? Because I think that's a real thing. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, I like that you say that. And that actually, that's why I found out through therapy. Like I was like, I definitely was. Well, okay, I'll put it this way. I don't mind saying this on camera. For me, it wasn't that I was scared of commitment. I was more so scared of getting heartbroken. And then once I
Mhm.
experienced it for the first time and I lived through it and I got through it,
Yeah.
I was like, this isn't the end of the world. Like
Right.
I'll be okay.
Right.
So then that kind of like relieved my fear of commitment.
Right.
But at least for me, I was like, once I got over that fear of commitment, there's no doubt in my mind if Deja lived in DC, we'd be together today. However, she was like, how I explained it to her is like, I basically explained it to her like how I told you, how like this is not, I would be doing this to more or less see like if we're like compatible and if I really want to like do this. Like I don't mind committing, but I'm not like necessarily committing with like the intention of being like, yo, I'm committing you to you today.
Mm.
So that way in a year we get married or in a year and a half we get married. It's like, nah, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
we taking it back to basics. Let's see if we even compatible. You know what
Right.
I
Right.
mean?
Right.
And she didn't really like that. And so I was just like, oh, okay, well. And so like I realized that I need to like I need to go younger so I can have like more runway and don't get pressed out about things too early.
We can talk about it more at brunch.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we're gonna get in the nitty gritty about you too. We talking about me. We're gonna get caught up. Who we gotta talk about over there with you? Okay, next quotable. You talked about. Well, you said something. Did I want the outcome without the process? Did I want transformation without participation? I want to know.
Yes. No one is coming to save me. That was from a journal entry. I was going through it. I was going through it. And I had a real moment with myself. Like I had to ask myself, like, what are you tripping about? Things are playing out how they're supposed to play out.
That's a quotable. I like that. Things are playing out the way they're supposed to play out. And I really do believe in that. Like
Yeah.
everything happens for a reason. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's like, and you may never even know what that reason is. And so, yeah, but keep going.
Yeah, I think it's several different factors, right? I think one, we live in a culture where, instant gratification is It's a thing, right?
Mhm.
That's what we all want. And we have a tendency to focus on the outcome. And even, just looking at what other people may have achieved in their life, the first thing we're looking at is the things, not like what it required of them to get to that point. So I think there's just some social conditioning there, right? Also do think that faith plays a role as well. I
Mhm.
think that it requires just a certain level of surrendering, a certain level of trust. You're not going to know the path. That's the whole thing called life.
True.
That's what it's all about. You learn as you go. So I had to be very real with myself about trying to rush my process and getting frustrated about things that I may or may not have or where I may want to be. Again, social conditioning, because who said you got to have this by this time or whatever the case may be. But I had to really have that internal dialogue with myself. Like, wait a minute, that's not how this works. Like, this requires something of you. Like, we are called to be active participants in this thing called life. We
Mhm.
cannot sit by passively and want things to come to us. And for me personally, that kind of brings me back to my relationship with God. When I think about God, I think about an energy that I am called to be in co-collaboration with. We are building and creating together. It requires me to be active. It requires me to be accountable. It requires me to be in relationship. You know what I'm saying? The same way you're in a relationship, you don't just put all the work on the other person. Like, no, it's a team effort. I have to do my
Mhm.
part as well. I have to do the work, and I have to be real with myself. Like, slow down. You got to do the work. You can't skip steps. You're not special.
One thing, okay, so you mentioned instant gratification, right?
Yes.
And there is this concept that when my friend he told me this, I was like, I never forgot it. It's called pick enough.
Okay. Never heard. Put me
Pick
on.
stands for positive, immediate, and certain, and enough stands for negative, uncertain, and in the future. And as human beings, we always gravitate towards like the pick
Right.
because you could just see, like, for example, vaping. Like people vape,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they don't mind doing it because it's positive, immediate, and they're certain that they're gonna get whatever hit they get.
Right.
But the thing is that the negative side of it is that you could get lung cancer or whatever, but it's uncertain if you're gonna get it. And then
Right.
also like whatever lung cancer you're gonna get is in the future. And so I always like try to not always do what's immediate and like positive for me because a lot of the times like especially, like, when you think of, like, pleasurable things, like, those things typically long term, like, don't necessarily always have the best benefit. So
Yeah.
I always try to keep the long-term benefit in mind. It's typically always better to play the long-term game as opposed to the
Absolutely.
short
I
game.
think that we need to do hard things. We need to wake up. Like, that's
Mhm,
something that I ask myself, what did I do today that is hard? We have
mhm,
to learn how to build capacity, especially when we live in this digital era. Like, I think that to a certain extent, we have lost our ability to endure.
mm,
We have lost our ability to communicate and work through tough things. So you got to train yourself. Like that's part of the reason why I was getting into the gym and strength training specifically. I go through different seasons. I don't do it as much. I do some things that are a little bit more slower that feel more aligned for where I'm in my life. But I
mhm.
need to do something difficult. Like I need to be lifting the weight. Like I need to feel it. This is hard. This is difficult and learn how to push myself past that feeling. It's a small thing, but in a way, I'm training and I'm reshaping my mind. I need to be doing hard stuff.
And so I want to go back to something that you said about no one's coming to save you. Why was learning that no one was coming to save you such a difficult realization for you?
It wasn't as difficult as it was as freeing. I think it was in the moment, there was an emotional release there because I think that's natural. Like, dang, no one's coming to save me. I gotta do this myself. But
Uh,
I talked about it in the article. It was also very freeing because when I know that no one's coming to save me, I'm not waiting on nobody. I got my power back. I'm saving myself. To
mm,
me, it unlocked something in my brain. It really did. So when I was able to get past the emotional release,
mm,
I'm like, I can take my authority back now. I don't have to wait. If I want to change, and not saying that, that's what I want or there's anything going on. But I think that we forget that we have the autonomy, we have the power, we have the authority. If you want to create a new life tomorrow, you can do it.
yeah.
Matter of fact, you don't have to wait till tomorrow. You can do it now. It starts in your mind. You just make the decision. The first step is I am not doing this. I'm no longer identifying with this. This is the person I want to be. This is who I want to be. Declare it. Start moving like that. and then everything else is going to fall into play. So for me, that was really freeing to just kind of like really rest in the fact that if I had this realization, right, I'm not waiting on nobody.
Okay. All right. So last conversation we had, right? I think it was maybe it's going on about a year and a half, right? A little year and a half. We was at that little kickback that you had. You was talking about you was trying to get married soon. So I want to.
I said that?
I swear you said that.
I don't think I said that. I think you're mixing me up with somebody. I think you're mixing me up with somebody.
I don't know.
Summer soiree.
You said what?
At the summer soiree.
Oh, I didn't go to the last one. I'm talking about the one before that.
So I try to get into my hosting bag now, and when the weather starts to break, I like to do like a cook food situation. That was 2 years ago. I don't recall saying that, Miles.
You don't?
No.
Okay. Well, let's just talk
hypothetically.
You know what I mean? Like, how's that going? Like, have you met like how's dating going? Let's actually talk about dating in 2020.
Okay, that's funny. I think you're mixing me up with somebody because I'm thinking like, do I really want to get married that soon? I'm open to dating.
Okay.
I haven't always been in a space in my life when I have been open to dating. I'm just in a space of like, I'm receptive to whatever God has for me, whatever the world has for me. So I'm open, not actively like pursuing or seeking things out. But if I was to meet someone or have an experience or an opportunity, I would be open to it. I think there were seasons in my life where I was very like locked in on my goals, and I was like, I'm cool off of that. I just really need to spend some time in solitude to figure things out. I have since moved out of that space, so I'm open to it. But for me personally, that's not something that I'm like, I need to get married tomorrow. I need to start dating.
No, I get that. I get that. So, okay, being open. So what does being open like? What does that mean? It's just like whatever you're just kind of like just living your life and whatever happens, and if you're interested, you'll.
Yeah, but I think so. This is kind of going back to what I was saying before about we need to be on the same page energetically. It's more so coming from a place of like what my values are, right? So like my work and all of those things relating to that, that's super important to me. So like that's at the forefront of my mind. So I think it's not that I'm anti it. Like if I was to meet someone and I was interested, it's not like I'm not going to explore this because, I'm so busy with XYZ. Like, no, I think that I should live. That's how I'm able to speak on things is like through living. So I'm not rejecting myself from experiencing that. But like, I'm also a woman who's very much so, I know where I'm going in life. So I can enjoy, but I cannot lose sight of the prize. But I do think it can work in relationships. You just have to find somebody else that has that similar mindset. That's what I mean by open, like, whatever happens, happens. But there has to be some intention behind it.
What does that mean?
Because I feel like if you say that, there are certain people, how they move through the world is like, oh, it's just, I can do whatever. No, like there has to be some intention behind it.
I could do it. Nah, but like, okay, so it's like, so when you say intention, are you talking about like, okay, like what are we doing? Are we like dating to marry? Like, is that what you mean by intentionality?
No, because I think those things can fold. Like I like, again, going back to taking my time to get to know people. Those things will come. Like things will start to become more clear over time. Those things will unfold naturally.
I'm gonna have to clip this up. So post this on my page so Deja can see it.
Lord, let's be past that. Those things will unfold naturally. So that's not necessarily what I'm saying. I think that there are sometimes people in this world that have no direction on life and what they're doing in general.
I could agree to that.
Don't come over here thinking you got to do that because there's a certain way that I live my life and how I structure things. And if that's your perspective on life, that's fine, but it's not going to work out because I'm very intentional with everything that I do.
Oh yeah, no, you gotta be. I would just say that like it probably took me about like the last maybe a little over a year to like realize like shit is really rough out there for people. So I think that what it is that I think a lot of people are in survival mode right now. It's not even necessarily that they don't have any direction, but it's just like it's like if you're trying to get over here, but like you struggling to even keep the lights on. It's like
it's not a concern.
It's like trying to like be, I guess, more or less intentional is not necessarily on the forefront of your mind.
Right.
You're trying to just
you
feel me?
Yeah.
So
that's where I'm at with dating.
Just dating.
Yeah.
The dating pool treating you well? No? Yes. How is it?
Yeah, I mean, but I also, like, I'm not a huge dater for real.
What does that mean? Like a huge dater? Like you're not out here going on dates for real?
Well, cause like, I be out the way for real, so it's like,
Definitely out the way. Surprised you even here now.
stop saying that. I told you I was gonna come. Gonna
Oh,
do it. So I
shit.
think I'm not like dating pool's fine. I don't date a whole lot to begin with.
Yeah,
Dating pool's fine again because it's a mirror. I'm good in the inside. I thankfully am not,
that's good.
attracting situations that I wouldn't want to be in. So yeah, but I don't really date too much. Like I don't trip about stuff like that. It's gonna come.
It's gonna come.
It's gonna come.
It's okay. I like to hear that. You have a optimistic outlook, kind of just doing your thing.
Think that's how we should. Like when you focus on yourself, your ascension, like those things was going to be added to you. The love is going to come, the money is going to come, the career is going to come. Like you will get those things as well. Like
Yeah.
just focus on yourself and those things will come.
Hmm.
So I don't trip about that. I like that's what are we talking about?
And I like that you bring that up, that working on yourself, because at the end of the day, it's really the only thing that you can control. Like you can
Right.
never control the outcome, but like
Right.
if you build yourself up
Right.
to be able to be whatever that person is, whether it's you trying to be a husband, a
Mhm.
wife, an
Mhm.
entrepreneur, like once you
Yeah.
have those skills, like you'll be able to do whatever with that.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes we want things and we name the things, but I wonder, and this is speaking from experience, these are conversations I have with myself. Focus less on the things and more about the person that I need to become to
Yeah.
have those things. And I just feel like that's just a better use of time and energy. Like I think when we talk about manifestation or any of those things, I think the main things that people talk about is love. They talk about money, and career. When people are trying to like change things, want to improve, those are the main three things. And I think if you're seeking any of those things, the best use of your time, energy that will be worthwhile is think about the type of relationships you will have, think about the work you would like to have, what you wanted your finances to look like in this lifetime, in terms of whatever's comfortable for you. And then think about what is the type of woman, what is the type of man that has these things?
Mm.
Become that. Once you become that, you get anything you want. So that's kind of my perspective. I'm cautious on like the things that I say because I do think that there is a narrative that is being pushed out. Like you have to be perfectly healed, like you have to arrive to a destination, and that's not true. You're always going to be learning and growing, but there is a certain level of awareness. So I don't focus too much on that. I focus on bettering myself as a woman.
Mhm.
Cause yeah, those things will come in due time.
Mhm. And so another thing I want to add to that is you said love, money, and career,
Yeah.
right? Another thing that I like to always keep in mind too is that pretty much all of those things like involve like, other people. And so to
Right.
always keep in mind what does this other person want out of like me in this exchange? And when you can really align wants and needs to what they are, that's when you create a really mutually beneficial relationship, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, as you know, like I do have my own content agency.
Right.
I employ, people overseas. And I knew that unfortunately there are bad actors out there that don't like pay their people well or they
Right.
scam them and stuff like that. So like for me, like I always try to make sure that they always get paid on time. If
Right.
for whatever reason I'm like late or whatever, I tell them. I try to like give them like Christmas bonuses and stuff like that because I want them to enjoy like, working for me. And
Right.
and that has like literally like tenfold. Like, I've
Yeah.
gotten that tenfold. Like they do
Yeah.
things for me that I don't even ask them to do because
Yeah.
they just enjoy. They're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, Miles,
Falls.
yeah."
Good.
They're like,
Yeah.
"Miles, I think we could do this. We could do that." I'm like, "Oh shit, I wasn't even thinking about that. Thank you." And you know
Right.
what I mean? So, and I think that in all aspects of your life, whether that is like your relationship, your career, like show up. Like, how can you be an asset to this person?
Yeah. I think that's good. You need to clip that.
Oh yeah, no, 100% will. I will for sure. Oh man. Let me keep going. I'm so serious. That's a debate I had earlier. I'm gonna tell you how that question came
Yeah.
about. And And that realization felt like a gift. I probably should have put what was before that, but because if no one is coming to save me, then I am not waiting on anybody. I'm stepping in not because I feel ready. I don't, but because readiness was never the requirement, responsibility was. And one thing that I liked about that is that a lot of people, I think, wait for like the perfect time to like do things. Like I've
That was
seen
me.
that was you?
Yeah.
Like in terms of like doing what? Like what was something that you were like
Aspects of my life, to be honest, to be real with you. Even with this, like I had the idea to start sharing my writing like well over a year ago. I didn't start it until January of 2026.
what, was it like fear or like did you not wanna like
I think it I think at the core root of it, because I've sat with it, it is fear.
fear
Um,
of what though? Of being judged?
yeah, I think that's real. I think fear of being perceived is a real thing.
Mhm.
And I think that's something that I had to sit with as well. When you talk about the things that you want, the life that you want, again, what does that require of me? I can't have a fear to be perceived. I gotta show up and take space and just stand 10 toes down on it. The people that rock with it is gonna rock with it. And that's because I'm clear on who I am and I'm comfortable in my own skin. So I definitely was someone who was like heavy overthinking, waiting for the perfect time, but there is no perfect time. Like you have to make the decision. If you wait on a perfect time, you'll never feel ready. And then I think that's why people may not, and I think this is more relevant now, especially because I feel like as we start to become older, approaching 30s, times I think people, we kind of get in this mindset like if I haven't achieved XYZ by 30s, they're like feeling down and they start to settle for things that they truly don't want. And that kind of comes from you got to be careful about that. That's that there is no perfect time. Like I said before, if you want to wake up and change your life, you can. You don't even have to
Mm.
wait till you just do it now. So yeah, that was something that I definitely like had to learn to work through. Yeah.
I would just say this, that now that, you're a content creator, different from me, from what I do, I would just say that I don't wanna say this. Really understand, like, what you're trying like, how to do with your work, how far you wanna take it,
Mhm.
because I'll admit, it's like, once you start putting your stuff and your thoughts out there, it don't matter, you can talk about Jesus Christ. People are gonna hate. I mean
Comes with the territory.
yeah, it comes with the
Yeah.
territory. So just be mindful of that as, like, you continue to grow, your platform and whatnot and be okay with it.
Yeah.
That's something that I had to come to terms with. Well, I've been came to terms with that as soon as I
Yeah.
started. Hate never, me.
Yeah.
Hate never phased me.
Yeah, I think, that's something that I lean into now. I actually had this conversation with my friend and, some of the things that she's working on as well. I think, and it's also like, I'm at a place in my life, I have a certain level of detachment throughout life. So I don't take a lot of things personal. So that doesn't bother me because I know that a lot of people that may comment on it, they're speaking from a space of insecurity. Like, dang, they doing something that I really want to do. I just didn't have the courage to get it started.
Literally.
So sometimes it's not even necessarily about you. It's just working through their own insecurities and their own fears and doubts and etc. So it's like, yeah, can't worry too much about that.
No, exactly. And that's because if we really boil it down, like everybody who even some of the greats, it's like they didn't start being out great. They started regularly. Like the greatest podcasters started with the
Yeah.
iPhone. Like,
The average millionaire, I want to say, is like 35. And it's like,
yeah.
where did this concept come from that everybody got to be
I could tell you what
i-
happened.
in the 20s? Like,
What happened is because of social media, AI, and technology, there are so many people that are like, it's never been easier to
yeah,
become a millionaire,
right.
right? Because if you look back like 50 years ago, like you'd have to, get a bank loan and all sort of other
Yeah.
bullshit. There was no internet. You better had to learn about marketing and stuff like that. But now, you see kids that like might blow up on TikTok and then they got like one's a sponsorship or a product, they make like 10K off
Yeah.
of like a meme or like a TikTok dance or whatever,
Yeah.
and then it makes it seem like easier. And the thing but what they're not but they want to show you that, but like people aren't gonna show you like all the failures though.
Right.
All the people that tried to do the same thing and it didn't work out for them. So
And you have to have like that level of resilience and tenacity. That's something I talk about a lot, with mentors and people who are where they're at now, much later in their career, and they're done things. And I'm like, wow, I'm
mhm.
super inspired. I like to do that as well. Like, I had my one mentor tell me, how many businesses that have failed that
A
I've
lot.
had before I've like got to this point.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that kind of goes back to what we're talking about with social media and instant gratification.
So I know you've talked about your relationship with God a lot.
Hmm.
So how has that shaped your understanding of love? Was there a spiritual moment that deeply shifted your perspective on relationships at all?
It's happening now in real time. I will say the more I get closer to God, the more I learn about God, it makes me think about love. Why? Because God is love. So it is a shift that is occurring with how I interact with people, my heart posture, how I show up in relationships. And that is a direct reflection of the relationship that I have with the creator. So yeah,
Okay.
that's happening and unfolding, I would say, in real time.
Okay, we might have to bring you for part two so you can expand
Yes.
it. Oh man.
You got so many notes.
I know, see?
I appreciate you. You be reading
Yeah.
all.
I do read your stuff. Every time. I'm telling you. To work. We try to avoid to negotiate tone, but life keeps bringing forward what demands our attention. What comes into the light is not punishment, it is training, and being in that training, even when purposeful, is a difficult place to stand.
Mhm.
Beautiful, yes, but messy, uncomfortable, and exposing nonetheless. Yeah, I like that. What made you write that? Like, is this like your training right now that you were talking about?
Yeah, this one, so my writing process, it varies, but this was like, I believe this came out in like February. It was from a journal entry, and I was like, I had something that I wanted to write about, but this is speaking to me more. I think that people, again, we talk about the ending, but we don't talk about the process.
Right.
Healing is not pretty, it does not feel good. It's a purification process, right? I think that in order for you to be cleansed, as a vessel, it requires you to be able to sustain certain parts. There's a shedding that has to come with that. I think I saw a quote somewhere a while back that was kind of getting at the fact that in order for your new life to come forward, your old life has to die. The old version of you has to die and everything that is attached to that. People don't talk about that process and what it feels like to be in that. That's a that's a tough spot to be in, and that was just me trying to articulate my thoughts of what does that feel like. It's like I know that this is the right path for me, and I know that I'm doing the things that I should be doing, but it doesn't necessarily make it any easier as I go through this transition of like dying to myself and then rebirthing.
Yeah, I like that. Like this transformation that you're going through, it's not easy to you're gonna come out the other side and you're gonna look back at it and be like, damn. Especially because you journal. So I told you I journal, right?
Yes.
Yes. So like I go back on some of my journals and I'm like, wow,
Which is
the
crazy.
growth is crazy. And
Yeah.
things that like before that I thought were like the end of the felt and I was like, oh, this is damn near the
I'm
end of the
moved
world.
so yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and I
That's
look back, I'm like, damn, it wasn't really that bad. Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I'm not now, this is not new to me. I feel like I've had to go through, like, so many, like, deaths and rebirths in my life. I'm
Mhm.
also a Scorpio. That's what we do.
Okay.
Um, so I think, like, it's natural to me, it's not unheard of, but every time it's still gonna be those feelings, those that reaction. And I
Mhm.
think that we just don't speak on it, and I think that it can be so misleading. I remember, I would say kind of my first, like, very big spiritual awakening in my early 20s. I just remember feeling so, like, misled, like, this is everybody they talk about the other side, but not what it requires to get to that, and I was
Wait,
just like
misled about what exactly?
I think at that point, I was just evolving a lot spiritually and just
Yeah.
really trying to figure out like what type of woman I want to be. And when I into the world or just like other people that were close by in proximity, I saw like the final versions, right? Like the woman they are today, but they weren't really talking about the process of what they required of them to get to that,
Mhm.
version of themselves. So when you're like in the fire, when you're in the storm, when you're in that in between stage, I talked about in my first article, I was changing careers, changing cities, changing
Mm.
and relationship dynamics. And it was so many different things moving. I was like, what is going on? Like I went to commit to God, a better path for my life. And I felt like my life got worse after that. But know now that that was divine orchestration. And for
Mhm.
something to be built new, the old has to be destroyed. You cannot bring the old versions of yourself into the new life.
Yeah.
So it was playing out how it was supposed to, but I didn't have that insight and that wisdom at the time. And I think a lot of us don't because we're not necessarily as transparent with it and putting these types of conversations at the forefront that may be encouraging, helpful for someone who's trying to figure it out. I think that's also where we are in this digital age. People don't want to be real. And that's important to me. Like, what you see is what you get. Very real, very raw, very authentic. I don't want to pretend. And I feel like we have a tendency to want to like cookie cutter perfect. And it's like, it's a facade. And it makes it difficult. I think that we should be able to learn from each other, have these conversations, be in community through experiences. If everybody is not being transparent and honest, what are we doing? And I think that's what we see in the world, especially when I think about influence and, younger generations, because I got nieces and nephews and lots of younger cousins. When they look on social media, because, that's how they connect with other people, they're not seeing people talk like this. So they just seeing these people that got all these things. And then when they trying to go through the process, they like, dang, am I messing up? Because I'm going through XYZ and this is hard. And I'm looking at their life and it doesn't look like they experienced this. And it's not necessarily because that's not the case. That's just
They just didn't show it.
They're not showing it, and that's not what's being pushed to us right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It's people, I don't know, we're gravitate towards the glitz and glamour and not necessarily the process. And that's why I've come to terms and realized that, like, especially with podcasting, that shit is a long game. Oh my God. Unless you're already famous, like it takes a lot of time, energy, and effort in trying to like do it for like a year and expect to get anywhere. Some of my favorite podcasters said that nobody watched nor listened to their shit for like 3 years. And I'm like, damn. And it's like that.
It is. And I think we're very similar on like the podcast and things like that and financial literacy. Like anybody will tell you it took time. But again, it goes back to what are you trying to build? Because, some of these other things that other people are building, they may not be sustainable. So like if you want something that is sustainable, that's going to stand the test of time, if you're really trying to create legacy, that's not going to happen overnight. I don't care what they are pushing out in the media. It takes time.
Well, piggyback off what you just said in terms of what you're trying to build. So like what is the final version of all of this writing look like? What would you like to take it?
Right now, I'm excited. That was my happy dance. I'm excited this will take me. I have a good feeling about it. So right now it's just about creating without expectations about where this would go, just creating and just being authentic. I think as long as I'm creating and being authentic and being real, things will start to come into play. I think I'm in a space of trying to figure out like my voice and what do I want to do with this. I do have some ideas. I have some new articles coming out. There's some topics that I will be reoccurring. So I thought about like, how do I present this? So I'm still trying to figure that out. But right now the focus is just creating and getting things out there. And I think you and I talked about this before on the phone. It's important for me to create more than I consume. That's something that I said going into this new year. And that's kind of going back to not wanting to like be stagnant or not utilizing my gifts and my talents. I can't be receiving from everybody else and I'm not using mine. So I need to be creating way more than I consume. And this is the first step.
You said the first step again on the pod. I know. You're stepping outside of your comfort zone. All right, Miahjé. Well, we talked about a lot. We pretty much hit all of my talking points. But before we close out, what do you want to leave the people with today?
I would love to leave the people with, first of all, tune into my Substack so you can read the articles. I just want to encourage people to just be themselves. When you are authentic, when you are real, when you're showing up, you can't go wrong. That's something that like I tell myself every day. I'm doing my part. And I want people to lean into that more. Yeah, just being themselves, being real, raw, authentic, whatever that looks like for you. So that's my message.
Well, I'm gonna leave everything in the show notes. You guys check out her writing; it's absolutely phenomenal. I tune into every single article. Beyond Ordinary Podcast. Until next time, peace.
Thank you.